G'day guys, welcome to this week's weekly developer update. I'm CW and joining me you have Joe. How are you, mate?
Doing good. Wild week, but things are good. How have you been?
Personally, I'm a bit burnt out, to be honest. Fighting our way through this bear market blues, and obviously we've got the onslaught from the industry, and I don't know. I'm a little bit fed up, to be honest.
Well, it's hard not to get burned when the market's on fire, you know?
Exactly
what
right.
Can you do?
Yeah, exactly. So
we still have a lot of good stuff that's being built in the background, you know? That's one thing that I always like about Ergo is there's always people that are busy building cool stuff. I wouldn't want to be on a project that's kind of silence at this point.
100%.
We've got some exciting stuff ahead. So and it's good to kind of track that, and it looks like we're gonna, see a couple public tests here soon, and more applications coming out in the ecosystem. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at our little ecosystem here at Ergo, it's just expanding sort of exponentially, and it's fantastic. Number of DeFi offerings, and we've got options, bonds, a couple of dexes now. One in sort of is it Mechana finance, order-based book. We've got the AMM style with Spectrum, Exle. There's numerous sort of DeFi products. There's the degen side, so you can jump on there and do some gambling and things if you like. NFT marketplaces. The ecosystem is pretty cool, and there's always something going on. Something pops up out of nowhere, and it's fantastic. And I think ErgoHack was a great sort of a great initiative to sort of bootstrap all this sort of stuff. And this latest ErgoHack was fantastic, being able to see all the products and things come to light as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the summit that's coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah, so we'll be releasing this video halfway through the second day.
Yeah, we'll be releasing it late. So hopefully people that didn't know there's a summit going on, you might want to click over there and enjoy it.
Exactly. Very well said, mate. So let's jump into this weekly developer update and see what's going on. This is a little update from MrStahlfelge. Good to see him back in the ecosystem. So a little bit of work last week. So just continued to implement a Multisig wallet UI into the wallet app, which is fantastic to see. Having Multisig in the Ergo wallet app. Obviously, again, that's available on mobile. You've got desktop version, iOS with Terminus. So, another fantastic option there for people's security of their assets.
Yeah, it's great to see. Looks like next we have greenhat. Looks like his progress is he's dug into the prover error in a 7 out of 10 multi-sig and built a full test, but was unable to reproduce the error. Gracefully handled node wallet locking while Oracle is running. Fixed sorting of the log archives. Work in progress on exposing pool status data via the REST API. Looks like the next is to test governance in the gold ERG pool on testnet.
Good to see that coming along nicely. Okay, following on, we have MHS and much anticipated Rosen Bridge update. So if you haven't heard already, there's going to be a public test that'll be live next week. They'll first distribute test tokens to the Ergonauts group, and then a week afterwards, they'll distribute the tokens through the Ergo faucet for the public. So the public beta test launch, they'll put Rosen under more stress tests, fixing minor bugs as they found them. The pre-final phase of the test passed successfully. That's a number of days ago now. And then also looking to plan and apply the final test as a heavy, long duration one. So probably a few days of pushing the service every few minutes without interruption. So just get the kilometers up on that one. Breaking down a couple of the repos. So the Rosen Bridge Ergo node client. So they worked on some R&D for choosing an open API client for the code generator. They'll then publish their own generated node client and use it in the other Rosen packages. So there's Rosen TS guard service, worked on finding the cause of the wasm prover error, which causes the multisig subsystem to time out. So it's not a new update on it yet, as I don't know what, as they didn't get the error often and just couldn't reproduce it, as sort of greenhat mentioned above. Worked on improving the guard signing procedure by implementing a feature that selects simulated guards randomly. There's a little refactoring going on in TSS sign procedure to improve performance and modularity. These changes will be done in TypeScript inversion. So in other words, re-implementing the Go modules in TWS in order to minimize the usage of Go. And a new step has been added to the guard's transaction agreement procedure to improve the data reliability and highly reduce the effect of downtime and packet loss. And finally, there is Rosen chains. So half of the Ergo chain implemented according to the abstract classes. And as implementing on the Ergo chain, some requirements found in the abstract classes also resulted in updating and adding some new functions to them. And then on the misc side, finalized some standardization of the unit testing, resulting in a new RIP, Rosen improvement
repo progress.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on that front.
A lot going on. Next, it looks like we have morphic with Sigma. Still working on preparing for the next PR for review. It will remove usage of Java reflection, key PR towards Scala.js support. With the AppKit, upgraded AppKit to Sigma version 5.05. Added support of Scala 2.13 and AppKit. It's work in progress. Miscellaneous, addressed reviewed comment and merged EIP 43. Reduced transaction. There's been a lot of discussions on Discord, and next up, looks like he's going to finish the Sigma PR and release AppKit version 5.0.1.
Awesome. Okay, following morphic, we have an update from Kushti. And then on the node development side, finally made dumping the UTXO set snapshot from a database snapshot. So not from the tree stored in memory. And this allows to store the snapshot asynchronously in a dedicated thread. Also reviewed pool 1963. Probably that and 1954 will be enough for the node version 5.0.8 to be released in a couple of days. So knowing Alex, it might even be released by the time this video is out. That'll be done by external contributors. And then on to Dexy, the backend bytecode for us, the free mint and arbitrage mint are ready and added to the unit test for each of those. The backend side is developing after the first version of backend APIs. So he's going to add more scenarios to the SDK. The design's ready, and Dmitry Yusov, Dead IT, is working on the front end. He's also done a Oracle reward token buyback contract. So he's just working on some tests, and then we'll do a testnet LP and tests over the testnet with greenhat. And we'll do a forum post on the buyback contracts after tests, and could be useful for other scenarios as well. So someone could utilize those.
All right, what's next? Looks like we have Luivatra with Paideia. Looks like close to being done with the Alpha SDK. Fixing formatting along the way and adding Scala doc comments generated by ChatGPT. Not perfect, but better than nothing at this point in time. Once done, we'll work on finalizing the API and code to bootstrap alpha version, hopefully next week. Expect to run alpha internally for a few weeks and fix whatever issues come up. Once sort of stable, I will bootstrap a beta version and invite reviewers and testers alike to have a go at breaking it. That's always fun.
Get on there and try your best. Have fun with it. Ultimately hardens the system as well. A little comment here from Kushti, just asking MHS, what is Rosen chains? And MHS's reply is it's a refactor of Rosen's guard service. So it's intended to separate the chain-specific logic from general logic. So it'd be very easy to add support for new chains or add new backend for supported chains to the guard service. It's just the repo is private at the moment.
All right, next we have Ilya from Spectrum. With Spectrum Network, they're working on the Spectrum paper. Spectrum Finance on Ergo, they're cleaning up PRs for liquidity mining bot. It's a work in progress. Spectrum Finance on Cardano, updating Cardano Analytics backend for streaming API based on Ergo Analytics, work in progress. Adopting Ergo Analytics logic of processing TX events for Cardano, work in progress. In terms of the backend, they're fixing PR comments and streaming API and testing it. On the front end, the product analytic custom fire event method with event provider, FM contract, and UI UX history issues are a work in progress. And they're testing with the closed community group. So continuing to do some stress tests and also updated the testnet explorer.
Yep, nice to see. Okay, moving on, we have MGpai, and once again, it's been a little bit busy with a number of projects. So kicking things off on the ErgoSapiens side, working on a front end, working on the NFT art and metadata, and also working on a Discord bot. And then moving on to Lilium, also working on the front end and working on the back end optimizations. ErgoNames, porting all current code to his off-chain bot system, planning new architecture to allow text records and subdomains, also trying to find a solution for front-running vulnerabilities, which is very important. And then miscellaneous, he's created an off-chain bot template that anyone can use to bootstrap their project. It includes the Ergo AppKit, GetBlocks Plasma, Exle's Edge, Akka, Apache HTTP for API requests, and the JSON, which is JSON serialization. So it's another bit of tooling for the ecosystem that anyone can pick up and utilize for their own project.
Awesome. Looks like we had Bruno. At least it was forwarded. Those of you that don't know, Bruno was one of the brains behind the AgeUSD protocol. So he said, regarding multiple assets in the reserve, in addition to what has already been said above about advantages and disadvantages, I would also like to point to Gresham's law as a disadvantage. If you have two reserve assets and one of them is perceived as good or better, and the other is perceived as bad or worse, there would be a tendency to withdraw the better asset from the reserve and leave only the worse asset there. Preventing this tendency and protecting against vulnerabilities that it brings would require a more complex algorithm. This is the disadvantage that led us to choose a single reserve asset for JED and Sigma USD, despite the diversification advantage of multiple reserve assets. And so then he said, I think an interesting approach to handle multiple reserve assets would be to have multiple deployments of JED Sig USD, each with a single reserve asset. Do not tell comment that. I hope they're not watching the video. Have a new meta stablecoin X that is backend by a basket other than JED Sigma USD stablecoins. The weights ratio of each stablecoin in the basket could be determined by their relative individual TVL. Withdrawals and deposits from the basket would allow a multi-asset liquidity pool approach, where the fee increases the more the transaction causes the ratios to deviate from the optimal range. This would guarantee that each JED Sigma USD deployment is simple and free from Gresham's law issues. The new metastable coin would have the benefit of diversification of reserves, and the multi-asset liquidity approach would provide some protection against the issues arising from Gresham's law. It said, if any developers would like to work on this idea, please let me know. So that's an awesome. I've always hoped that we could move towards a reserve basket. I've always said, hey, we should have more commodities and not like pegged to fiat, right? Have like a store of value basket, but that's it. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, we've seen what happens with stablecoins and the US peg and banking services, and who knows what goes on behind the scenes and things like that. Having it pegged to a basket of commodities, for instance, oil, gold, silver, eggs, who knows what things could be. It'd be a really interesting idea to see how that then would play out and stabilize itself in regards to pegging itself to a certain price. It'd be amazing to watch that all unfold. Okay, moving
Well, it looks
on.
like the Oracle pools could be busy.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic being that utilization, people spinning up. Just a little comment there from Zuma Lacra in regards to sort of Bruno's comments. And then the final update for this week is from Chris Ray on Exle. So number one, there's a crowd fund contract. The first draft is complete. APIs for the crowd fund is complete, and the backend infrastructure for the crowd fund first draft is done. So the testing of the V1 is not finished due to issues with the UI development, exploring public bounties to adjust several UI UX adjustments that's needed. And then the crowd fund will allow for multiple users to fund a loan and assist borrowers in successfully receiving a loan, as it's been seen in many crowd-funded platforms today.
Awesome. It looks like we had a little comment today. It's not really developer update, but we have a new character. Danza, he said, I'd like to contribute to Ergo. This semester I have a subject at school where I should dedicate time to contributing to a large enough open source project. I don't have too much understanding of the protocol and no experience with Scala yet, but I'm happy to learn, and I'd like to help at least with some small issues. That's awesome to see. Always happy to see new names, new faces in the developer channel. So welcome, Danza. I hope Morphic can help you out, or maybe someone can grab them.
Yeah, most definitely. It's always great to see people reaching out and wanting to further themselves, especially on the schooling side. Welcome, Danza. I'm sure someone will throw you in the deep end. All the best. It's great to have you here at Ergo.
Yeah.
Okay, that sums up this week's weekly developer update. Some pretty cool things going on there, specifically this week on the core side. Quite heavily weighted that side this week. Lots of things going on. Rosen's highly anticipated. There's the UTXO set snapshot. Me personally, I'm really excited for that one to see come to light. Like I said, we sort of touched on at the beginning of this weekly developer update, a bit burnt out, but look at what's happening in the ecosystem. It's fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff. A lot of the thing is, a lot of the madness in this industry I have zero influence over, right?
Yeah.
I'm just a spectator, so try to eat my popcorn, have a little bit of humor, enjoy the madness, because what else can I do, right?
Exactly. We have a little bit of a saying between the Hash It Out crew. It's just crypto baby. That term just sums everything up. I think it's perfect. All right, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in to this weekly developer update. Joe, it's been a pleasure chatting once again.
Okay.
Have a good one, guys.